These past days, after some recent computer and technical issues, I had to do many errands in different parts of town to solve my problems in shops which are the very opposite of the old bookshop or my beloved brocante, selling only brand new devices and tools which will be all outdated in a few months or years. When I set foot in these places, I'm constantly reminded by the sellers and people who work there how old-fashioned I am and that I truly belong to another century. These situations reminded me of Solomon Gills, a character of Dickens' novel Dombey and Son, the owner of a shop which sells outdated navigation tools nobody no longer buys. He says, "The world has gone past me. I don't blame it, but I no longer understand it. I'm an old-fashioned man in an old-fashioned shop, in a street which is no longer the same as I remember it. I have fallen behind my time and I am too old to catch it again." I could say, like Solomon Gills, I'm an old-fashioned lady in an old-fashioned home who cares for old-fashioned treasures and cherish past centuries. For the very first time in my entire life, I had to purchase a smartphone. Not to replace my dear old silly dumb phone, but to help the new computer get started and also as a second emergency internet support in case of computer crashing. It is now safe and silent in a box and out of sight. These past days reminded me the importance and necessity of past centuries in my everyday life, in my home, in my work, in the way I communicate with my friends, and in all my hobbies. We might not be born in a certain period, but we can still sprinkle in our days some past century beauty and wisdom to make our life more interesting, more meaningful, more elegant, more refined, and simply more enjoyable, with delights and simple pleasures which don't cost anything. Past centuries had simply a sense of beauty which is no longer valued these days by most people, because beauty is not efficient and our 21st century only values speed and efficiency. Taking care of a home filled with objects and furniture from the past, with sculpted curves and details, with specific materials and embellishments, requires time and delicacy. You have to go slowly to clean them, to take care of them, and you can't help noticing their beauty and details under the cloth. In another Balzac novel, Le Cousin Pons, there is a scene when Le Cousin Pons and his friend Schwab have to clean their collection of antiques and treasures. And the obsession of Pons for his collection is very much inspired by Balzac's own obsession for his own treasures. Pons et Schwab nettoyèrent, époustèrent le musée de Pons, l'appartement, les meubles, avec l'agilité de matelots brossant un vaisseau d'amiral. Pas un grain de poussière dans les bois sculptés. Tous les cuivres reluisaient, l'inimitable émail des bronzes florentins chatoyait. In my wardrobe, I love wearing special antique clothes like this nightgown which belonged to a sister of my grandmother. But I also like making my own clothes, a little inspired by the past and by hand. Of course, when I had the time to do it, I recently purchased a new summer floral fabric, a beautiful cotton, which will be turned into several skirts and a top. I have also here some embroideries, letters and flowers which were made by my different grandmothers, my two grandmothers, and I will use them for bags, for summer bags. Sewing all pieces of fabric or cloth definitely makes me time travel in the past, and I will go back on my sewing adventure very soon, later in June, once the different elements of the last part of the French Dollhouse workshop are all finished. I need to invite the past in every corner of my life. In my work, in the studio, of course. Ghosts from past centuries inspire me every day. The French Dollhouse workshop, for example, is of course entirely inspired by the 19th century and by Les Petites Filles Modèles by La Comtesse de Ségur, and also by interiors of the 18th and the Napoleon III era, which is the time when Les Petites Filles Modèles was published. As I was doing some research on the Napoleon III era, that you see here with his wife Eugénie, and by the way, Napoleon III was Napoleon's nephew, of course. He was the son of Hortense, Napoleon's stepdaughter, and his brother Louis. So as I was doing this research, a very interesting lady came to me, la Princesse Mathilde. Mathilde Laetitia Bonaparte, who was a niece of Napoleon and was the daughter, this time, of his younger brother, Jérôme. And it happens that her home, her hotel where she lived, has been painted many times, and her interior has been represented on beautiful paintings. She also appears in her own studio, as she was a painter herself. So thanks to the Dollhouse workshop, I have made now a new friend among the Bonaparte family. And by the way, my name Laetitia was very popular during l'Empire, during the Napoleonic era, because Napoleon's mother was called Laetitia, of course. Here is my little table of my after-lunch desserts, and I have these two books which I came back with from the old bookshop this morning. So this one has a little protecting paper which I will leave because those books are usually pretty fragile, and this one is a biography of La Comtesse de Ségur by her granddaughter, so I thought it would be probably very interesting. There's no photos or anything, but it's a biography by someone of a family, so pretty nice. And this one, which is very pretty with a floral fabric, is a book about La Princesse Mathilde. And La Princesse Mathilde, first her full name is Mathilde Laetitia, so of course I was interested to read more about her. There's a lot of photos too, which I'm really pleased. There is this beautiful portrait of her, which is really nice with the original colors. She was a painter also. She had a salon, received a lot of artists, writers, painters, and she was also a painter herself. I thought she was really intriguing. I'm really intrigued and interested to know more about her, and it's always a joy and a pleasure to read in such beautiful books at the same time. Working on the room and the decor of the dollhouse inspired by a specific period and Napoleon III interiors is a special delight, but I have to confess I have an absolute obsession for home description. For all homes in novel, it is candy, caramel. It's like a slice of lemon pie with meringue on top of it. One of the reasons I'm rediscovering and really enjoying Balzac's novels so much is that, among many other things, he is the king of home description. There are always extremely precise, extremely detailed descriptions because Balzac loved his own interiors, he lived in many houses, and he loved hunting for antiques and collecting antiques. And what is interesting is that in his own life, which was the first part of the 19th century, he was born in 1799, he also saw and regretted that his time cared less and less for beautiful things, beautiful architecture, beautiful decor, and it was in 1844. In his novel Les Paysans, for example, he writes these lines. Quel palais! Quel château royal, quelles habitations, quels beaux ouvrages d'art, quelles étoffes brochées d'or laisserons-nous? Les jupes de nos grands-mères sont aujourd'hui recherchées pour couvrir nos fauteuils. Usufruitiers, égoïstes et ladres, nous rasons tout et nous plantons des choux là où s'élevaient des merveilles. Balzac refers here to the countless castles which have been destroyed at the Revolution, during the French Revolution, but also during the 19th century, during the entire century, many castles have been destroyed. And as I like to time travel too, and I'm a lot in children toys, children worlds, building the French dollhouse at the moment and decorating the bedrooms, creating the furniture of this dollhouse inspired by the novel of La Comtesse de Ségur. I'm rereading a lot of children and discovering a lot of children books, some by forgotten writers, some by La Comtesse de Ségur. And I also like the school world. When there were descriptions of school, what they were doing in their boarding school, all of that, I absolutely adore it. There is a novel of Balzac called Louis Lambert, which has pages which are totally inspired by his own life at Le Collège de Vendôme during the Napoleonic era. So Balzac was born in 1799, so it's l'Empire. During l'Empire, he was in his boarding school, so during the very first decades of the 19th century, when Napoleon was still on the throne. It's very interesting to have his experience of school, which is entirely different from Dickens, from the Bronte, from all this world of terrible years, of poor treatment and all that. They had that too in his college, but they also had great things too, which are very surprising. And it made me a little think of Hogwarts and Harry Potter, because they had thousands of pigeons, they had little gardens. It's really interesting, and I cannot not read a few lines of it because it might change a bit the idea you have of school of the time, even if, of course, it was for rather wealthy children, or at least who had a few means to access this, because they had servants who were serving them for their lunches at school, and they were not, yes, they were rather well treated. And all the Balzac's novels are translated, novels and short stories, so you have no problem. In case you are interested in one, you can find it. Pour adoucir notre vie, privée de toute communication avec le dehors et sevrée des caresses de la famille, les pères nous permettaient encore d'avoir des pigeons et des jardins. Nos 200 ou 300 cabanes, 1 millier de pigeons nichés autour de notre mur d'enceinte et une trentaine de jardins formaient un coup d'œil encore plus curieux que n'était celui de nos repas. Qui de nous ne se rappelle encore avec délice, malgré les amertumes de la science, les bizarreries de cette vie claustrale? C'étaient les friandises achetées en fraude durant nos promenades, la permission de jouer aux cartes et celle d'établir des représentations théâtrales pendant les vacances. Puis encore notre musique militaire, dernier vestige des cadets, notre académie, notre chapelain, nos pères professeurs, enfin les jeux particuliers défendus ou permis, la cavalerie de nos échasses, les longues glissoires faites en hiver, le tapage de nos galoches gauloises et surtout le commerce introduit par la boutique établie dans l'intérieur de nos cours. Cette boutique était tenue par une espèce de maître Jacques auquel grands et petits pouvaient demander, suivant le prospectus, boîtes, échasses, outils, pigeons cravatés, pâtus, livres de messe, articles rarement vendus, canifs, papier, plumes, crayons, encre de toutes les couleurs, balles, billes, enfin le monde entier des fascinantes fantaisies de l'enfance. Taking care of an old home and its furniture, creating a dollhouse and all its decor, writing letters instead of sending short messages, being lost in long books, all that can only be experienced and enjoyed slowly. And this don't necessarily make sense for most people these days. But it brings so much happiness and fulfillment for those of us who are old soul and can't totally live in our modern century. And in the past centuries, their values, their beauty, to embellish, nourish, fertilize my present, my imagination, my decor, and my life. And you, do you have a special connection with one century or another? And do you have ways to escape our modern times, and especially the less pleasant aspects of our modern time with all this technology, all these robots everywhere, all that? How do you approach your passion for the past, maybe, if you also have one, living in this time we have to live in right now? Well, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it has inspired you, especially if you struggle a bit with our modern times like me, if you feel you are an old soul, or at least coming from another period and have felt this way your entire life. So if you have this feeling, please let me know. I will come back with more videos, I promise. As I mentioned in the videos, I had a lot of technological problems with computers and things. I wasted many days on these errands I mentioned in the video to try to fix my problems. So I'm working on the inside decor and the furniture of the French Dollhouse workshop, and all that will arrive at the end of May for those who have joined this workshop. And you can join the workshop till June 5. The doors will be closed till next year, so be sure you don't miss them. The inside is going to be very interesting. I mixed different periods I like, because it was normal to do that also in the 19th century. And there will be, of course, many historical things, because this is also the fun working on a house like that for the first time, on a real historical house. Well, as much as possible, of course. We are not doing a total miniature, it's not the purpose here, but invite more realistic aspect of architecture, decor, furniture, decor of the inside, of the ceiling, of the floors, all that. So you will see that in upcoming videos. Thank you very much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the nice videos coming.